Good, happy Sunday, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to Politics right here on the Riley King Network. Let's get started. Democrat ethics complaint against Sununu. What happens now? The state Democratic Party accused a early this week when it filed a formal complaint charging that Governor Chris Sununu violated the state's executive branch ethics code by using his official Twitter account to promote a private business he formerly headed and in which family members remain involved. In a tweet, Sununu appeared in a selfie with his young son and wrote that they were enjoying the best snow New Hampshire has to offer at Waterville Valley Resort. The first reported on the complaint to the state executive branch ethics committee in its New Hampshire primary source political column on Thursday morning. The complaint prompted a buzz on the local political scene, but it is a series of matter with a detailed procedure set out in state law, which also specify what promotions of the process must be made public and what must be kept secret. The law's first requirement is that any complaint filed with the committee shall be filed confidentially, the NHDP released with the complaint public several hours later in a press release. A party spokesman asked Friday if the party was aware of that previous of the law, declined to comment. Sununu is a former CEO and former member of the board of directors at Waterville Valley Resort, stepping aside on December 31st, several days before he's sworn in as governor. Sununu family members remain on board. The NHDP complaint charges that Sununu used his influence in his official capacity to promote Waterville Valley by name to exclude of all other ski areas. In the tweet provided by Waterville Valley with a marketing platform that excluded every other competitor and provided Waterville Valley with an unfair competition advantage. The very type of inappropriate use of official status is designed to prevent the complaint says. And there you go on that report. On the record, Lynch on Trump and Russia. Let's take a listen to this video from WCVB Boston.
Time to go on the record.
I will not sugarcoat this. This is a disappointing day for us. Doing big things is hard.
Congress pushes back as Speaker Ryan and Trump taste failure on their first big test. How will they fare with tax reform?
This is really the worst way to conduct government. It's the worst way to get bills passed.
Congressman Stephen Lynch is our guest this morning. He lived the week in Washington that one won't soon forget. And what this all means for Massachusetts.
That there's no such thing as a Republican judge or a Democratic judge. We just have judges.
And speaking of judges, can a Democrat like Elizabeth Warren stop Neil Gorsuch from ascending to the High Court? He's back on the Hill tomorrow. We go on the record right now.
From WCPB Boston, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Janet Wu. Thank you for joining us this morning for a live edition of OTR. And what a political earthquake it has been this week. Sometimes 2, 3, 4 tremors on a daily basis. Congressman Stephen Lynch is here. Just let me ask you right off the top. What was the tenor, the tone, the feel in Washington for the 5 days?
It was chaotic because, first of all, the bill on health care was not in print, and you had negotiations going on between Republicans to change provisions of the committee draft that had come out a week before. So, and obviously there was a lot of tension there, not only Democrat versus Republican, but Freedom Party caucus versus some of the few moderates that are over there. So it was chaotic.
Yeah.
The President Trump and Speaker Ryan now say the fight is over. Do you believe them? Do you think the fight is over? Or do you think the House Freedom Caucus, as you mentioned, or the other factions are going to try to revisit this soon rather than later?
I doubt very much. There's a certain ripeness that builds around certain issues, and I think it's going to be a while before we revisit health care. There are some provisions that would, there's been these, ongoing contacts between, Jeff Sessions and the Russians and others. So, yeah, there's this cloud of suspicion that is around the Trump campaign and obviously attaches to the president.
It's amazing how quickly things have worked.
That has hurt us. That has hurt our ability.
What do you tell them when they ask you that question?
Well, I tell them that's not. Well, let me just add this. Salim Al-Jabouri.
You can join in, Congressman.
No, thank you. I think I'll pass.
You passed on that one? All right, okay. Question 2. President Nixon played the piano. President Clinton occasionally played the sax in public. What was President Obama's musical mark?
Wow. The kazoo?
Well,
I don't know.
he loved music, especially Al Green. Listen to this.
So in love with you.
All right, Congressman, you want to sing that one?
No,
All right, then we'll take a break.
Voice.
Isn't there a competition voice-off or something like that?
No, he wins.
You against Barack Obama,
We'll be right back with Congressman Lynch.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Trump will seek help from Democrats in upcoming legislative move, says aide. White House Chief Staff Reince Priebus is making it clear that President Donald Trump will seek support from moderated Democrats for upcoming legislative battles. He is also leaving open the possibility that the president could still revisit health care legislation after the failure of the Republican bill to replace Obamacare. He scored conversation Republicans, explaining that Trump had felt disappointed that a number of people he thought were loyal to him that weren't. Speaking on Fox News, Priebus said, "I think more so now than ever, it's time for both parties to come together and get real reforms in this country, whether it to be taxes, whether I'd be healthcare, whether it'll be immigration, whether it'll be infrastructure. This president is ready to lead." And there you go on that report. Ryan pulls fundamentally flawed GOP healthcare bill. House Republican leaders decided to pull their Obamacare replacement bill at the last minute at the request of President Donald Trump, capping a rocky series of the week since the conversational measure was introduced, and in order for the president for legislators to put their cards on the table today. And that does it for politics right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday. See you back here later next Sunday for another edition of Politics. Bye, everyone.